It's Amanchu. I am back at last in Divergence SMP. It's been a while since I've been here. The Pale Garden drop has happened, and I definitely want to make myself a resin farm today. So that's the plan, make a resin farm. I have a design all laid out. I'll show off the design I have in mind and the considerations behind it, and then I will build it on this realm. But before I begin, I have to actually find a Pale Garden biome and collect certain resources. That's actually easier said than done. Problem is, at least as of right now, I looked last week for a Pale Garden and I couldn't find one because there's some kind of glitch with chunk base where it's not showing the biomes correctly. I wandered around quite a while and couldn't find one. Someone else on this SMP has found a Pale Garden. It was KatBeanie. Links to her channel in the description below, as well as all the other divergents. She found a Pale Garden on the realm, and several people on the realm have been to that Pale Garden. But that's kind of a downside because it's already been explored. And as I understand it, as of right now in Bedrock Edition, creaking hearts are fairly rare. In many of the smaller Pale Garden biomes, you might not find any creaking hearts at all. And even in the very large ones, you'll be lucky to find half a dozen creaking hearts in a biome that's like 500 blocks across. I'm hoping I can find a creaking heart. I need just one. With one I can make more. Creaking hearts are craftable. I just need to get enough resin clumps. Wait, I think I see it. That is definitely a Pale Garden over there, up on that hill. Looks like a fairly substantially sized one. And night has fallen. So that's... Oh god. Okay. I heard a creaking spawn. And it kind of scared me. I panicked. Let's land in the trees. Oh, those are flowers. I definitely want to gather those. There's a bunch of materials I want to gather while I'm here. But the thing I really need to make this farm is a creaking heart. Thought I heard a creaking heart, but maybe not. There's just certain ambient sounds in here. It's very quiet and creepy in here. Go ahead and collect a couple of these flowers. Ah, there's one. There is one right there. Hey, buddy. As I hit him, it should deposit resin on the tree next to where... It's not this tree, it's the tree back there. Okay. If I go in my inventory, but I'm still facing him, is that cool? Apparently. These creaking hearts should be rare enough that... Oh, that was convenient. Alright, this guy's going to be annoying to deal with. Shoot, 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 shoot. There's something to be said for having a farm. Ah! Don't go anywhere. Ha-ha! I trapped you. That's where his creaking heart must be. Alright. I'd like to leave that creaking heart intact. And just go ahead and collect enough resin to craft my own. So every time I hit the creaking, it's going to point me to where the creaking heart is, and it's going to generate resin, which I can then break off. That only works every 5 seconds. Oh my god. But there are so many other mobs spawning. It's really a pain to try and farm. Guy will despawn any second. Sun has come up and he's gone. Alright, so far I've collected half a stack of resin clumps. Not as much as I need, but it's a start. It's enough for 3 blocks of resin. And I can turn them into creaking hearts. I ultimately want 12 of these for my farm.
20 minutes later.
There it is. 12 creaking hearts. That was a pain in the butt to get. There, that's fine. I'm going to leave the Pale Garden exactly as I found it. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise. It's exactly like I found it. Yeah. Now I'm going to fly back home and pick a site to make the farm. But let me jump into a creative test world before I get there and show you what I did, what my design is going to look like. Alright, hope this isn't too much of a distraction, the other structures around here, but what I have here is inside here I have creaking hearts surrounded by pale oak logs. So that is 12 in a column. The only place on this farm where the creakings can appear is on this platform down here with the water streams, and those water streams push them into where these trident killers are. Each of them has an individual trident that's hitting the creakings. In here I have an etho hopper clock, which is approximately every 5 seconds. It activates and causes these 4 pistons to push the column of 12 logs down a block. When it pushes it down a block, a repeater here that's going to power that log, and that causes that dropper to activate. There is a observer looking up underneath, looking up at that dropper, and that observer activates these 4 pistons, which means when the 4 pistons up there push the column of logs down, these 4 pistons push the column back up so that all the creaking hearts are still surrounded by pale oak logs and still active. But when those pillars move, it knocks off all of the resin, and that falls down into the collection system down here. These hoppers feeding into a crafter here, converting all of those clumps into blocks of resin. Alright, that's kind of the Cliff Notes version of how it works. I tried this 2 different ways. This is with it always on, and I'm not using daylight sensor to turn it on and off. And over 3 successive nights, this is how much I got. It's a little over 3,000 clumps per night, so a little better than 9,000 per hour. Using daylight detectors to automatically turn the farm on at night and turn it off in the day, this is what I got each successive night. It's not as consistent, but it's pretty much 10% less. And I'll show you why that is. Here I have daylight sensors to activate the trident killer and to activate the hopper clock that's moving all these logs. I'll wait a few minutes for sunrise and show you what happens as the sun comes up. So when the light level rises, the ambient light level rises above a certain amount, the daylight sensor turns on. But as you can see, there's still creakings here. Even though the daylight sensors have now activated and deactivated the farm, the creakings are still here. And they will still be here, and they won't despawn for a little more than 30 seconds before they finally despawn. The same thing happens when the sun sets. Daylight sensors don't turn off and get the farm to activate until more than 30 seconds after the creakings have already spawned. So you're losing about a minute of operation of the farm every 10-minute night, which is why you get about 10% less productivity using daylight sensors to automatically turn the farm on and off. It is a lot more efficient, well, 10% more efficient, to just turn it on and off manually. I don't believe this farm is going to cause so much terrible amounts of lag that you have to worry about that. It's a bigger problem that while you're AFK at this farm, you can't have everybody else on the server sleeping because this will only work at night. I'm kind of struggling with that idea, whether to build an island off of my own base or build it somewhere else. I think I'm going to build it somewhere else. There's that big clear area down there, but also that sandy beach there looks like it'd be perfect to set it up. Yeah, this is just the spot I wanted. Great. Let's begin with a collection system. It's a crafter down into the chest. Facing that way. Face that way. That's going to continually pulse crafter so that it can make the resin blocks. Go up one. And then hopper there. Hopper there. Hopper there. Hopper there. 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 Now slabs go. There. 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 Temporary block. Drop it there. Server facing the dropper. Or that whenever that dropper is activated, this observer detects it, powers this block, and I'm going to have pistons there facing up. The pistons are here. Oh, I screwed that up. Okay, so yeah, the pistons will go there. Let's do this there. There. Over there. Now, whenever a log gets pushed down to that position, all those pistons activate and push all the things up. Perfect. There. Now for the creaking to work, it can be sideways like this as long as the logs that are connected to it are also sideways. When I put a second log here with proper orientation, that's a neat sound, by the way. That's pretty cool. Then these creaking hearts will be active and they'll spawn creakings. So that's the last step I'm going to take. Now creakings will spawn up to 16 blocks horizontally from the creaking heart, or 8 blocks vertically. So this creaking needs to be at least 8 blocks off the ground, which I believe it is. But another consideration is because it has to be within 8 blocks vertically, the spawning platform I can't just put down at the bottom here, or the upper creaking heart won't have any spawning area in range for a creaking to spawn from that. So I need the spawning platform to be about midway up this, or 6 blocks up. So I want to put it here. This will be my spawning platform. And I'm going to make it 15 blocks wide, so from this center block I go 7 blocks out in each direction. And then make it 5 blocks wide. That seems about right. I should make it a point to light this up. The creakings will spawn regardless of light level, as long as it's night time. The stone dust goes here. Nope. The stone dust goes there and there. Server goes there. The redstone block here. When I do this, that redstone dust will get powered. The pistons will activate because the observer detects that change in the redstone dust. And when those pistons push down, it's going to activate the system down there and cause it to push the logs back up again. That's going to shake the resin loose. And then put all the logs back in position so that the creaking hearts remain activated. I should be able to put 13 items in this hopper. Perfect. So now 13 items makes it's just over 5 seconds. The creakings can only get hit and produce resin from getting hit once every 5 seconds. So that's why I put 13 items in the hopper, so that it makes the timer work so that the pistons move here about every 5 seconds. And so every time they fire, it moves all of the wood down, breaking the resin loose, and then pushes it back up, keeping all of the creaking hearts active. Good. Ultimately, I'm going to need a way to turn this on and off, preferably from the ground, but let's start with just putting a lever on here. I also have to be super aware of not leaving any spawnable spaces here, because the creaking can spawn on top of hoppers. They could spawn on top of those blocks. They could spawn on top of the observer. Okay, other than a way to activate this from the ground, I think that's it. I need to make the spawning platform. I need to set that up and set up the Trident killers. The nice thing about having Silk Touch, it saves me a lot of trouble schlepping buckets of water around, trying to create an infinite water source. I don't need to do that as long as I have Silk Touch and can find a nice place with a lot of ice to mine. Alright, this goes 3 high. Wait a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. How did I miscount? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Shit. I miscounted. It has to be 15 wide. It must be. Because otherwise one of the creakings isn't going to fit in front of the Trident killers. So I'm going to have to go ahead and expand this by a block, which is kind of a pain in the butt. A little bit of a pain in the butt. Creakings to spawn on top of those. Slab those over. Put down trapdoors here. Cover up the tridents. Now. Yeah, so it activates all the pistons. Good. Put one trident at each of these. Alright, let's activate this and see if the pistons fall into place. Looks good. I think that's good. I just need to figure out a way to activate it from the ground. This redstone is a little convoluted. That I have a redstone path that goes down to a switch down there and connects up to here, so that this is disabled and that is disabled. I flip the switch down there and it'll enable both. So flip that switch and now the Trident killers are moving, and that mechanism's moving. Once I activate all these creakings, that better work fast. The sun's going down soon. Yep, they're all active. I may have gotten some glass into the crafter. Hang on. Yeah, let's grab that. There may be some more glass coming out. Let me activate this now, because the sun's about to set. Get all the glass out of there. That should be good. Everything should be set up. I kind of ought to build a shelter around here soon. They're starting to spawn in. And they're getting hit by the Trident Killer. And they are producing resin. It's working! Guess I got some stray moss in there. Alright, I really need to build a shelter quick. You see the moon setting. Sun rising. Still working. And they've all passed. And it whipped up my calculator, but that's 3,015 in one night, which is consistent with what I was getting in the test world, so it's all good. I'm not going to pretend like it's pretty to look at, but it's good, it works. So that's going to give you a little better than 9,000 per hour, if you're able to AFK that long and nobody comes on and sleeps through the night. Then it's 9,000 plus an hour. There is one problem with this farm on a realm that I didn't think of. KatBeanie was trying to use this farm yesterday and it wasn't producing any resin. The problem is the creaking have to be damaged by a player. And since I threw the tridents and wasn't online, the creakings weren't generating resin. To make it work, you need to pick up the 15 tridents and rethrow them yourself. Strongly recommend doing that in the daytime. Since this realm started in March, I've built a lot of farms here. If you want to see how much I've done, you can check out the playlist in the description and be on the lookout for a world tour next time on Amon Chooses Divergence SMP.